I'm trying to avoid any sort of contact with my eyes with this thing, but it's so bright and yellow. I can't look.
Okay, so I just got done watching the 6th installment in the Despicable Me franchise, and according to an interview, we're not stopping anytime soon. So does it live up to the caliber of the other movies? Well, you know, that's the thing with Illumination. I can't honestly say I've ever walked out of their movies being blown away.
No, I don't think you understand. I'm obsessed.
But I also can't say I've wasted money going to see them either. The studio typically tries to play it safe, and I say typically as you do have outliers like the Mario movie, where sure, the script isn't great, but at least visually it's leagues better than the other films. But just like the other 3 Despicable Me and 2 Minion movies, this one is just another drop in the bucket that's already pre-filled to the brim. Alright, so story-wise, we start off at an award ceremony for Villain Alumni of the Year while playing another bop from Pharrell Williams' He Cannot Be Stopped. And here we're introduced to our main villain, Maxime, who went to school with the now anti-villain League Gru. This leads to a jailed Maxime and kicks off the main plot for this installment as he's broken out of prison by his assistant cockroaches. We don't really see this play out, but he has an obsession for cockroaches and it's sort of just implied. Gru and his family move to a new town to lay low, and a little girl next door blackmails Gru to steal his old school mascot. Principal contacts Maxime, leading to the final fight. We learn some background about how Gru stole Maxime's talent show song, this leading to the rivalry. Then after Maxime is defeated, that's kind of it for the story. Now obviously, if you've seen the movie, I just left out about 20 different plot elements, but honestly none are really important whatsoever. There's Gru trying to play tennis with Stephen Colbert, the kids try karate, and Minions go mega. Now I think what irritated me the most is we have ourselves a classic marketing tactic. Now do yourself a favor, look up a nearby Walmart, go to that Walmart and enter the toy section. You will now be surrounded by hundreds of toys of stretchy minions, rock minions, flying minions, laser minions, buff minions. But I'm telling you, the movie features these little dudes for 3 scenes. At most being like 4 minutes. In the first scene, they transform. In the second one, they do a little superhero segment, which I will say is probably my most favorite part of the movie. And finally, they have sort of a last minute arrival to the Maxime final boss fight. And look, I get it. It's Gru's story. It's not theirs. But for all the trailers showing off all the different mega minions, you would think they'd play somewhat of an important part. But I digress. Aside from a lot of pointless scenes, the movie has good heart and does a great job of showing the dynamic family relationship. That's mostly the baby slowly growing to like Gru throughout the film, which, yeah, you know, it's very simple, but it's very effective. Moving on from the story, the style of the film is just that typical Illumination style, very bland, but there are some sets that do stand out quite a bit, like the villain school. But then you find yourself in rural areas where you're playing tennis and you go to school, and these sets are just very bland. Then we have the voice acting, which of course is done super well. We got Will Ferrell doing a bang-up job as Maxime. It genuinely took me a few scenes to realize it was him, mostly because he's doing like an accent. And the last thing to point out, the humor, it's not really different from any of the other 5 movies. Now, it's obviously made for a younger audience, but damn it, I'd be a liar if I didn't say I laughed a few times. Wrapping up, I think the main thing I'd change is I'd make this a sequel to The Rise of Gru, rather than a sequel to 3, as the more interesting pieces of the plot had to do with Gru going to school, and I think the grudge with Maxime would have worked a lot better during this point in time. Plus, Gru would have had his minions at this point anyway, so we're really only missing a few key characters that you could easily replace with new entries. But I'll lock it into the meter. It's not a bad film. I'd say it's on the verge of being very forgettable, with boring set pieces, a couple of chuckles, and underutilized plot points. Despicable Me 4 is well deserving of a middle of the road 2.5 out of 5.